And hello and good morning. We are live. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. BOLES.tv, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. We are here to serve you and serve your interests, and to try to make some kind of sense out of this deconstructed world. I hope you're doing well. It's beautiful weather yesterday in the New York City area. Had a high of like 55, and today we're supposed to have a high of 60. So if you're getting ready to go out and have some fun, this is the place to do it. And I hope we're done with the snow and the cold and the freezing rain. So there are a lot of things going on in the art world and the NFT art world that we talked about for a long time yesterday, about how there's been a correction and how things are crumbling and then things are coming back. So let's start the day with an investigation into our Ethereum. Down again. It's been about 2,500 for 2 weeks. That seems to be the new stabilized price. And the price of gas today is $9. Not bad. So this is very interesting news that Disney is rumored to acquire a big NFT collection, and crypto Twitter speculate who it might be. Now, as we discussed yesterday, there's this big acquisition of the Bored Apes Yacht Club buying the CryptoPunks and the Me Bits, and then giving the IP money to the people who actually own the NFTs, which is unfortunately new and rare. And there was a big, oh, there's Dora. Good morning, Dora, on my way out. I wanted to say hi. Well, thank you so much for saying hello. Very nice to see you and hope you're doing well. We have a new camera, a new setup. We're working on our audio because we're still not very pleased with how our audio sounds. It still sounds a little bit too compressed and a little bit too structured. So within the next day or two, we hope to have that maybe running a little bit better, but who knows? But we don't seem to be glitching and tearing as much since we changed our camera. It seems like our earlier camera was failing us. But we hope you're doing well, Dora, and enjoying the beautiful, beautiful weather we have. So the canceled Sotheby's auction of 104 CryptoPunks, and they were the first NFTs sold 5 years ago. So that's why they're so popular, and you can't buy one. And the average floor price of one CryptoPunk is now $200,000. And this guy was going to sell, guy or girl, was going to sell 104 CryptoPunks via Sotheby's. And then it was canceled. The person who was selling withdrew the bid in the offer. I agree about the sound. Yeah, sorry about that. It sounds great on my end, but something's happening between here and then when it gets broadcast. I don't know what's going on or why. I can turn off the noise suppression. Now you can tell me if this sounds a little bit better. The noise suppression is off. We will have more background noise, more hissing, more strange sounds. But if it sounds better, then we can go with the no noise. And the reason I think that this happened, that the guy selling 104 CryptoPunks withdrew his or her offer, is that there was the rumor or the truth coming out that the Bored Ape Yacht Club was going to buy CryptoPunks and consolidate everything and put it all into one big bag, which means more money for everybody. So I guess this person thought that instead of maybe earning $20 to $30 million for a whole chunk of CryptoPunks, it was better to just wait and see if you can get more money in 3 or 4 months after this acquisition happened. And the acquisition happened about 3 weeks after the Sotheby's auction was canceled. Now I'm putting noise protection back on, and we'll go back and listen to this later and see if there's any sound, if there's any difference, if we sound better or worse. Who knows? It's computers. So now it looks like Disney wants to get in on the game. No, it still sounds like there's an echo. Even with the noise suppression off, it sounded like there was an echo. It's very bizarre. Because when I turn the noise suppression off, I can just see a whole bunch of stuff coming out of the microphone. Noise suppression is now off. Now noise suppression is back on. Yes, to me, which one? Is it better with the noise suppression off or the noise suppression on? Right now it's on, and before it was off for a while. If there's no difference, then we'll just leave it on, I guess, until I get this figured out. I don't know what it is. On Mac, it sounded just great. And then on Windows, there's some kind of interference or something, but we're working on fixing it. It might take no difference. Okay, then we'll just leave it that way. I don't know what's happening. And I guess we'll just have to leave it and see what happens. Now I could change my microphone this way and go with a different kind of microphone. Now, does that make any difference? I just changed the microphone. This is the regular microphone, but with noise suppression. Now, if I turn off the noise suppression, this is the regular microphone without the noise suppression. Is it better or is it worse? That is the question. Instead of using the crisp audio version of our microphone. And now the noise suppression is back on for the crisp microphone. Not the crisp microphone, the crisp noise suppressor for the main microphone that is not the crisp microphone. This is all technical stuff that I'm saying to make notes to myself, so when I listen back to this later, I will understand what in the world I was doing. And none of it makes any sense. But I've been watching streamers all morning, and everybody has this problem. Their screen is laggy, their pixels are pixelating, they can't hear each other, there's no sound, they don't know what to do, they don't know how to fix it. And now we're back with the crisp microphone, with the crisp suppression. So this has now been going on for a 5-minute conversation. Still the same weird. Yeah, very weird. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's good that it's all the same, meaning that what the issue is one thing that if I can fix it, it will be fixed. So it's not necessarily a software problem. It's not necessarily a hardware problem. It's something between here and the computer. Well, not even the computer, because I can hear it. It's between here and the broadcast on Twitch that I have to get fixed and solved somehow. I just don't know what's going on. But we'll struggle through. We will try to make it work. And I thank you for helping. Even though you're on your way out. So I guess Disney wants a cut of this NFT pie that is now not as big as it was 2 months ago. And people are panicking. Well, the only people who are panicking are the people who bought NFTs to flip them and thinking that they're going to make a quick buck. Those people are not happy. The rest of us, what do we care? We collect because we like it. I don't seem to recall this happening when you first started streaming on Windows. Well, that's interesting. I don't know what that means. I know what you mean. I don't know what it means in the overall aspect of what has changed and what's gone wrong. I'll just play with clicking different buttons and see if anything changes, if anything happens differently. Nothing is happening differently. I'm in one ear, now I'm in both ears. Very interesting. Checking audio settings. Shining a light. Shine a light. Shine a light on me. Boats. Maybe if I change this setting a little bit, maybe that doesn't sound as strange. I did change that setting a little bit. I wish I could hear. Let me see if I can figure out if I can hear something. I may need to do it this way. Somehow this... a monitor... Okay, that's what I need to do. I need to do it from within this other thing. Okay, monitoring is off. Monitor only. Hello. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Turn that off. Does that sound a little bit better? Better. Maybe that does sound better without the noise production off. Monitor and output. Monitor and output. Monitor and output. Very interesting. Okay, you're in a tunnel, Dora. Sound is going in and out. Okay. Well, this is a very fascinating technocratic thing that we're working on. And we're going to figure it out. Well, it's a little confusing, but I guess we'll leave it for now and try to work on it later this afternoon. So Disney wants a big cut of this NFT pie, I guess, and they're trying to figure out how to make it work. And there have been rumors circulating of entertainment giants, including Disney, acquiring an NFT collection. A lot of speculation. So what are they thinking? Rumors began circulating after Jamie Burke on Twitter mentioned, rumor is Disney is about to make a big NFT acquisition. If it happens, it would be the biggest deal to date in the industry. Let's see how it plays out. And that tweet received replies from many big-name games in the NFT space, including Gary V, who simply said, and Snoop Dogg, who chimed in and said, I heard a rumor that Disney is buying the doggies. He was probably joking. Some people mentioned Cool Cats, Super Yeti, Doodles, and more. A screenshot was also shared from Cool Man Coffee Dan of Cool Man's Universe on Discord, saying he was going into a meeting with Disney. Burke later confirmed that someone in the thread was right by saying All I'm going to say is someone in the thread got it. Some people also suggested Vive. Yeah, it's not Vive. The situation has been compared to Nike's acquiring RTFKT Studios, which was a huge multinational company, acquiring a growing NFT project. People have also called this move by Disney a genius move on the marketing side, if it goes through and is a great project. Since November 2021, when they released their Golden Moments NFTs, Disney has released various NFTs on the Vive platform. Vive is a digital collectibles platform specializing in licensed NFTs for big companies and IPs like DC, Marvel, James Bond, and Disney. Well, that's just fascinating. Haven't had any news on that yet. Now, this is really big news. Coinbase, one of the biggest cryptocurrency exchanges where you can buy, sell, and have fun with crypto, is going to be testing zero fees trading of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. Now, that's big news because sometimes their fees are $3, $5, $10, and that adds to the price. So let's say you're buying an NFT on the Ethereum network. You're paying the creator's price. You're paying gas fees. They can be anywhere from like $10 to $80. And then you're paying money to Coinbase for the transaction and also when you purchase Ethereum and Bitcoin and Dogecoin. Major cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase is testing a new subscription product that lets users exchange digital assets without trading fees. Coinbase One, already in a beta launch, will let users trade cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin with zero trading fees. Users would also have $1 million in account protection and access to 24/7 direct phone support with Coinbase One beta team member. Now that's big because people who have problems with Coinbase, and not that it's Coinbase's problem, but they have problems that are caused because they're doing business on the Coinbase exchange. People complain a lot that they can't find a real person. And if you email them, it can take days to get a response back. Usually the response is, look, you're on the blockchain. There are no guarantees, so see you later. When you know they could help you if they wanted to. Coinbase did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Transaction revenue from trading fees has historically made up the lion's share of Coinbase revenue, according to CFO Alicia Haas. In the fourth quarter, the cryptocurrency exchange generated $2.2 billion in revenue from transaction fees alone. And people complain about the transaction fees. We've been taking steps to diversify this revenue and grow our non-transactional revenue streams. That's because they're going to start selling NFTs soon. We generated more than $500 million of subscription and services revenues this year, including $214 million in the fourth quarter. That's a 10 times increase from 2020. Coinbase One users will not be reimbursed for previous trading fees and would be charged a monthly recurring payment. A spokesperson for the cryptocurrency exchange declined to reveal the price of the product. Interesting news. We live in interesting times. And it's going to be fascinating to see how all of this plays out in the crypto world. And now it's time for our very first blood pressure break of the day. I will see you momentarily. We are back from break. I'm David Boles. This is Boles.tv. BOLES.tv. And we're having a very interesting conversation about NFTs and the audio quality of this broadcast. I am going to work on this all afternoon and see if I can find someone who can give me an answer on why it sounds so strange. When we were under Mac, it was great, and we moved to Windows, and it just sounds terrible. And nothing's really changed. But we're under Windows 11, so maybe that's different than Windows 10. Maybe there are some drivers missing. I don't know, but it's a weird sound and not a good one. But we're going to get to the bottom of it. That I promise you. So what else is happening in the news and updates? We're going to talk about Marlee Matlin and her relationship, if you can call it that, with William Hurt. But first, some related news. This is very interesting that finally Instagram is closed captioning auto-generated closed captions for Instagram feed videos. Adding captions makes Instagram more accessible for those in the deaf and hard of hearing communities, and for those people who are learning English. You now have the options to turn captions on or off, available in 17 languages with more to come. So that is terrific. And the only question is, why did it take them so long? Facebook, which owns Instagram, has been auto-captioning their videos for a long time now. And then the greater question is, why doesn't Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, why doesn't Twitch offer automatic closed captioning of their live feeds? They do. The technology's there. If you're an insider at Twitch, or if you have an official video on Twitch, they'll close caption it. But if you're just a regular streamer, they will not close caption it. So we have to go to a third-party overlay, which Eric Guzman has very kindly created, called. His overlay is called StreamCC. YouTube auto captions all of their videos. I hope that Twitch will get to the bottom of that. So William Hurt died a couple of days ago. Wonderful actor, probably not a great person. Was married early to Mary Beth Hurt, and then he had a couple of kids with another woman, and they broke up, and then he had a relationship with Marlee Matlin that we're going to discuss in just a moment. So he won an Oscar for Kiss of the Spider Woman, and he was nominated 4 times, and one of those times was the movie Children of a Lesser God. And the acting community has just been pouring in with all these great accolades about what a wonderful person that William Hurt was, and what a great actor he was. Hurt had 3 consecutive Best Actor Academy Award nominations in the mid-'80s for Kiss of the Spider Woman in '85, and he won. Children of a Lesser God in '86, Broadcast News in '87, and snagged a Supporting Actor Oscar nomination for A History of Violence. So all that's great. We know that William Hurt is a great actor. But what kind of person was he off screen? Now, some people say, and we've had this discussion many times here, that it doesn't matter. If somebody beats their wife, or sleeps with their child, or abuses a teen underage, none of that matters, these people say, because the only thing that matters is the art. Judge the person on the art. The art stands alone from the person. You cannot reliably criticize an artist for his personal life based on, let's say, a sculpture or a role in a play or a scene in a movie. If you want to judge them on their personal life, judge them on their personal life. So you have to, I guess they suggest, as an audience member, as an observer of the art, it is your responsibility to, in your mind, separate the person from the object, the creation. And that's difficult for some people. I mean, you hear the stories about Woody Allen and his kids, and you hear the story you're going to hear about William Hurt, Marlee Matlin. And Picasso creating sculptures and artwork, and not a very nice person. And there are many people who say it just doesn't matter. I think it sort of matters. Now, Marlee Matlin wrote a book a while back. She was very young. How old is Marlee Matlin? She's 56. And William Hurt just died at 71. So there's, what, a 14-year difference? And when you're young, 14 years is a lot of difference. So they were very seriously together for a long time. And in her book, Marlee Matlin told the story of how William Hurt, abused her. And this is the news talking about that, which I sort of appreciate, that people are not shy because they remember her story about William Hurt. So all these people are saying, oh, he's just the greatest actor ever. Okay, maybe. But what kind of person was he when he wasn't on screen? Because people act for a limited amount of time, and then they become the real person they are off stage. And it's very damaging and dangerous. So here's one article. Marlee Matlin reacts to ex William Hurt's death after abuse allegations. Marlee Matlin said ex-partner William Hurt, whom she previously accused of brutally raping her and beating her in the 1980s, was one of a kind when asked about his death on Sunday. You're the first person to ask me about him, the actress said, who signed to a reporter on the Critics' Choice Awards red carpet, shrugging her shoulders and looking visibly shocked. We've lost a really great actor, and working with him on set and Children of a Lesser God will always be something I remember fondly. On set, working with him. He taught me a great deal as an actor, and he was one of a kind. And there they are together. And there she is now. And I guess he died of prostate cancer, his son said. Several years after Marlee and William Hurt split, the actress alleged in her 2009 memoir, I'll Scream Later, that she was subjected to persistent abuse throughout their relationship. She accused Hurt of raping and beating her after coming home drunk at 4:30 in the morning. The next thing I knew, he pulled me out of bed, screaming at me, shaking me, she wrote in her book. I was scared. I was sobbing. Then he threw me on the bed, started ripping off his clothes and mine. I was crying. No, please, Bill, no. The next thing I remember is Bill ramming himself inside of me as I sobbed. In a statement released at the time, William Hurt did not deny the allegations, but insisted the exes had already apologized to each other. My own recollection is that we both apologized and both did a great deal to heal our lives, he said in a 2009 following the publication of her book. Of course, I did and do apologize for any pain I caused, and we both have grown. I wish Marlee and her family nothing but good. So that's how you take the measure of a man, by his actions and how he behaves. And sometimes people don't behave very well. And I remember reading Marlee's book, and it's very shocking and very difficult to swallow. And I guess one of the major reasons that he was so upset with her is because this was really her first big acting debut. She had done regional theater in California. Big star, beautiful, smart, talented. And she was brought in for Children of a Lesser God to play Sarah in the movie. I believe Phyllis Frelich played the role on Broadway. And everyone thought that Phyllis should have that role because she's terrific, but the producers wanted someone young, pretty, and rebellious, and that was, at the time, Marlee Matlin. And so Bill was older and had the mentor role in the movie, and they had a romance in the movie that then continued off stage. Offset, off screen. And when Marlee won the Academy Award for Best Actress, Bill, who had previously won the year before for Kiss of the Spider Woman, did not support her and was not happy for her. And he suggested that the only reason she won was because she was deaf. And people felt sorry for her. And it was a pity vote. And it was a pity win. And that wounded Marlee very deeply. She was very upset that this person that she thought loved her back thought that, I guess, she was some kind of pity case. And it makes it difficult to respect the man on screen when you know the man off screen is saying those kind of things to the woman that he loves and then abusing her and raping her. Now, I remember all of this vividly because in the mid-'80s, I was let's see, where did I do it? Oh, where did I do it? The paper. I was reviewing movies for a local television station in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I've lost the page. Let's see. Television, kidding around, Boles full. Okay, and then it has to be Boles full 2 for some reason. I took out the... So I would review movies, and all those movies that Biller was in, I had reviewed at the time. And this was one of the movies I reviewed, Altered States. And this is the movie poster that I had in the basement of a university medical school. I still have this poster somewhere. Dr. Jessup floats naked in total darkness. The most terrifying experiment in the history of science is out of control, and the subject is himself. And there's William Hurt upside down with all of these electrodes attached to his face as he's in kind of a salty pool. And the movie is called Altered States, starring William Hurt, Blair Brown, if you can remember her, she's great, Bob Balaban, and Charles Hayde. Charles Hayde went on to star in NYPD Blue. Blair Brown, I believe, starred in her own TV series, The Days and Nights of Molly Dodd. And it was a Ken Russell production, so it was very odd. And it was based on a story by Patty Chayefsky. So I was a big Bill Hurt fan. I respected his work. I thought he was very interesting. I appreciated him. And then as you get To know the person through the work and through reports of offstage behavior, you have to reevaluate where you're coming from. And you have to rethink how you thought about someone. Is Bill Hurt a hero, or is he there's something else? And in death, is he absolved of all of the terrible things that he perpetuated on people? And I don't believe it was just Marlee Matlin. There are other stories of drinking and violence and infidelity that people just tend to pass off and say, oh, that's just how actors are. But is that how actors should be? And there are some people who believe, look, all actors are broken. If they were normal people in the mainstream, they wouldn't be actors. There's something inside of them that needs to be fixed. As the great writer and director Mike Nichols of Nichols and May told me once, every actor who comes to New York is out to prove something to their parents, that they are a worthwhile person. And he said, once you know that, then it's very simple to understand the rest of them and where they're coming from and what it means to them. So I thought that was very interesting analysis, and I appreciated that very much. Because I guess we really can't know a person by just knowing them. Because we can't really know them if they're an actor, because they're good at hiding. So we should be careful who we decide to acclaim and who we decide to worship, and remember that someone winning a big award doesn't really mean anything in the end if they're a terrible person in real life. I don't think you can take a scalpel to the personality and separate it from the talent. I think it matters too much. Well, in other news, I love this story and I don't like this story. I love it that the possibility is there. I'm not happy that it may not work out to the best of our hopes and dreams. Pfizer is now saying another COVID booster shot will be needed. That would be shot number 4 if we are counting and paying attention and playing at home. 4 shots. Albert Boles' comments continue a roller coaster pattern of differing communication from the pharmaceutical company and the government as the pandemic enters the 3rd year. And this is not over. There's a Shenyang, I think is the name of the province in China. 24 million people in China have just been put on lockdown because they have such an extreme and dangerous COVID outbreak in China again, that they're locking down 24 million people, testing them 3 times a day. They cannot go out, they cannot do business, they're required to stay at home. And people here in America said, oh, let's take off our masks. Let's go hug each other in public and play football and go to the mosh pit. Let's just interact. Because we're tired of wearing a mask. We're tired of hearing about this. Well, be careful what you wish for. Because COVID is not done with us. Pfizer's chief executive said that another COVID-19 booster shot is necessary, voicing support for a 4th vaccine dose before the FDA has determined whether to recommend it to the American public. The company that created the first FDA-authorized vaccine told CBS News that current data indicated a 4th shot is necessary. He said 2 days earlier that the company was close to submitting a significant package of data about the need for a 4th dose. I agree. We got our fourth dose back in August, so we're a little away from where we should be. But do we just get a regular booster, or is there like the fourth shot's going to be something additional to make us feel better? I don't know. The protection you're going to get from the third is good enough, actually, quite good for hospitalizations and death, Pfizer said, but it's not that good against infections because it doesn't last very long. We're just submitting those data to the FDA, and they will then see what the experts will say outside of Pfizer. And those comments come as the White House plans the next phase of its COVID response, aiming to keep the virus under control in a way that is less disruptive to daily life. No cases soared in early 2022 because of the Omicron variant. The coronavirus's impact on the U.S. has been less severe since February. On the topic of durability, the CEO said his company's goal was to make a vaccine that lasts longer, at least a year, and protects against all variants. So that means it should be blended with a flu shot eventually. If Pfizer can achieve that, then we can go back to really the way we used to live. And the White House referred all questions to the FDA when asked for comment. So I guess the fourth shot right now that they're supporting is the same thing that they've always been supporting, we've always had. So maybe that's important. Maybe they know something we don't know. And I don't think this is about selling vaccines. I think it's beyond that. I think it's more important than that. And that said, we're taking our next blood pressure break. We'll be back in one moment. And we are back from break. I'm David Boles. This is Boles.tv. BOLES.tv. We are here with you Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. And on weekends, at 11 a.m. Eastern, the beautiful and talented Jana Marie Sweetheart is here at 11 a.m. Eastern. And she shares fun facts and talks about disability and her life and has a lot of fun. And it's all in American Sign Language with typed text, so you will not be excluded from the fun if you are hearing deaf, hard of hearing, or otherwise. Now we're going to take a look at how the war in Ukraine has reverberations beyond just the war. Ukrainian researchers pressure journals to boycott Russian authors. Now, how do you feel about that? It's kind of interesting. Most publications are still considering manuscripts irrespective of nationality. But Russia plans to remove a requirement for scientists to publish in foreign titles. Following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, many research organizations swiftly cut funding and collaboration ties with Russia. But those moves have sparked debate over whether Russian scientists should be able to publish in international journals. Some argue that a boycott is morally correct and could help end the war. But many journals say that indiscriminately isolating Russia's scientists would do more harm than good. This week, Russian authorities seem to have responded to threats of a boycott by saying that it plans to drop a requirement that government-funded scientists publish in recognized foreign journals. That move could further harm the country's science, say some Russian researchers. And Ukrainian scientists have issued the strongest calls for banning Russian researchers from journals. Russian scientists have no moral right to retransmit any message to the world scientific community. Those opposed to the ban in Russia and elsewhere say that it would penalize scientists who oppose their government's actions, and that science can act as a diplomatic channel. You have to ask whether this will achieve something or not. It's about just sending a signal. If so, there are better ways to send a signal, as Louis B. Mayer used to say, an executive in Hollywood. You want to send a message in a movie, just send a telegram. People are not interested in having messages delivered while they're watching a movie. So that's good. He's saying, look, people go to the movies for entertainment. They don't want a message. They don't want social justice. They don't want some idea of what we call now being woke. So far, few journals have banned Russian scientists. Those that have banned Russian scientists are Nature and Science, condemned Russia's action in editorials, but have also spoken out against indiscriminately isolating their scientists. In a March 4 editorial, Nature said that a publishing boycott against researchers in Russia would divide the global research community and restrict the exchange of scholarly knowledge. In response to Russia's invasion, Clarivet, which runs the citation database of world science, announced on 11 of March that it would cease all commercial activity in Russia and immediately close an office there. It had previously suspended the evaluation of any new journals from Russia and Belarus, which has supported Russia's war, that are seeking to be included in the Web of Science. Ukrainian scientists welcome the move. By rejecting manuscripts written by Russian authors and excluding the Russian journals from Scopus and the Web of Science, Elsevier and Clarivat can contribute to the end of this war. But many researchers in Russia have spoken out. Stop the boycott. Many take personal risks to protest. A blanket refusal to review and publish manuscripts will have zero impact on the Kremlin's policy, which is probably true. And I read that there are a lot of Russians who have fled and who are now living in Turkey, and they're still getting hated by people on the street because they think they're part of it. And I sort of understand that, but they're saying, no, we're dissidents. We don't agree with Putin. That's why we left. We don't like him as much as you don't like him, though we just happen to live in Russia. And the people there are saying, well, you say that now, but where have you been for the last 10 years? You've been in Russia enjoying all the spoils of your dictator, your authoritarian. Yuri Kovalev, an astrophysicist in Moscow, fears that following the imposition of financial sanctions, people in Russia are soon likely to struggle to pay for goods and services. This could leave institutions unable to pay article processing charges or for journal subscriptions. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Here's another fascinating topic. Radiocarbon dating helps you identify forged paintings. I love how science comes to the rescue of art. It's really quite delightful. And the art community is very happy to have it. They're not running from the scientific community at all. They need the help. Radiocarbon dating has unmasked 2 paintings in France. Probably the first time the technique has been used in a police investigation. The paintings are supposedly impressionistic and pointillist works from around the early 20th century. But a team led by heritage scientist Lucille Beck at the University of Paris used radiocarbon levels in the fibers of their canvases to date them to some time within the last 70 years. Researchers concluded that the paintings are modern forgeries. The use of radiocarbon dating is gaining steam in the forensic analysis of artwork thanks to advances that require smaller samples than ever before. Removing their samples from artwork is more palatable to auction houses, museums, and other owners of paintings. If there's a chance a painting is genuine and therefore valuable, they don't want the collection of larger samples to damage it. Two forged paintings were part of a trove of artwork that French investigators uncovered in a restorer's workshop in 2019. Of some 600 paintings, dozens appear to be mid-level masterpieces from the late 19th and early 20th century. But experts questioned the work's authenticity because the paint seemed relatively fresh. To investigate the potential forgeries, the French government's central office called on Beck When she walked into the office, she was amused to see what would normally be a drab office with paintings displayed across its floors and tables. And here's how radiocarbon dating works. All living things take in carbon, including radioactive carbon-14, from the atmosphere and from food. When a plant, such as linen or hemp, commonly used to make canvas, dies, the carbon-14 that is incorporated continues to decay. Radiocarbon dating measures what's left to estimate the time that's passed. That technique gives an absolute earliest date of an artwork, because there could be years between harvesting the linen for a canvas and then making the painting. Atomic bomb testing, which began in the 1940s and took off in the 50s, bumped up the amount of carbon-14 in the atmosphere beyond naturally produced levels. Carbon-14 peaked around 1964 and tailed off after a partial ban on nuclear tests. Researchers can easily identify materials containing modern bomb-derived radiocarbon because their carbon-14 concentrations are higher than pre-1950s levels. So in the testing, the canvas fibers from both the Impressionistic and Pointillistic paintings clearly contain carbon from either the mid-50s or after the year 2000. That's because the carbon-14 concentrations they measured could correspond to either side of the atomic bomb peak. Another fiber, plucked from the varnish of the Pointillist painting, and perhaps coming from a brush, also dated to 1950. Beck acknowledges that ideally the team would do further chemical analysis to support its findings, but the researchers were limited by the right time and the tight frame of the investigation. Oh, it's amazing. You can't hide from science. They're always going to find you. And here's another interesting article, how much medieval literature has been lost over the centuries. A new analysis suggests that just 9% of manuscripts produced in Europe during the Middle Ages survive today. Here's an example. It's beautiful stuff. Centuries after their creation, works of medieval literature including tales of King Arthur's Camelot, Icelandic sagas filled with accounts of Viking victories, and more, continue to fascinate and inspire. In a pop culture world simultaneously obsessed with familiar characters and constant reinvention, the longevity of these stories speaks to their resonance. A new study published suggests that these beloved legends represent just 2/3 of the total fiction produced during the medieval era. To conduct the analysis, researchers selected 3,600 manuscripts written in Dutch, French, Icelandic, Irish, English, and German between 600 and 1450 CE. They plugged the data into Unseen Species model, which was developed by co-author Anne Chow, and modeled estimates on how many others unseen works of art had made up the local population. For the statistical model, the team's analysis theorized that 3,648 manuscripts represent a larger universe of 40,000 medieval manuscripts, around 90% which no longer survive. These figures refer to the loss of physical documents, not the stories preserved in them. For a work of medieval literature to be considered completely lost, all existing copies of it must be destroyed. Much like how animals are only declared extinct after all living members of their species die. Looking at literary works rather than individual copies, the researchers found that 68% likely survive to the present. This is something that is very interesting for our study, because it seems like the island ecosystems are better in preserving their biological diversity, right? It's an interesting hypothesis to entertain whether the same patterns could facilitate better survival of cultural heritage in those island societies. English literature had a low survival rate, 7% of medieval manuscripts and 38% of works surviving to the present. Although England is also an island, it had stronger ties to the European continent during the medieval period than Iceland and Ireland. At the time, English had little international prestige and was rarely learned beyond England. Exactly what happened to the thousands of lost medieval manuscripts remains unclear, but researchers offer a range of possible explanations, including library fires, recycling of older manuscripts, insect damage, and just normal wear and tear. In one instance, a 13th century collection of old Norse tales was used to reinforce a bishop's mitre or headdress. The team's next project will be diving into the question of why medieval literature disappeared by examining whether certain genres or languages were most likely to survive. Good stuff, fascinating stuff. None of it makes sense. Now, this is a very interesting story about Japan and forced sterilization. It's unfortunate. It's eugenics. And it's sort of still around and still going on. And how do we fix it? The Japanese government launched an appeal against a lower court ruling that found forced sterilizations of disabled people unconstitutional and ordered the government to pay compensation. The Ministry of Health explained that the Osaka High Court ruling last month contained serious legal problems relating to the statute of limitations. Japan's dark era of forced sterilization under the now defunct Eugenics Protection Law is considered the greatest violations of human rights in post-war Japan. Between 1948 and 1996, some 25,000 people with disabilities were sterilized or forced to undergo abortions, the majority without consent. The purpose of the law was to prevent people with physical and intellectual disabilities, mental health problems, and patients with certain disease profiles, such as leprosy, from having inferior offspring. On February 22nd, the Osaka High Court overturned a lower court ruling ordering the government to pay a total of $239,000 in damages. It also denounced the former law as inhumane, and contrary to the principles of justice and fairness. The main focus of the plaintiff's appeal was to challenge the application of the statute of limitations, which expires 20 years after the procedure. In this case, the surgeries had been performed almost 5 decades earlier. But the Osaka High Court concluded that the statute of limitation should not be applied, as the government had promoted social discrimination and prejudice against the disabled, which led to victims having difficulty accessing the information and legal consultations. That, in turn, restricted their rights to seek compensation. The court also accused lawmakers of negligence and held the government responsible for the delay in victims' lawsuits. And subsequently, the central government, on March 7, appealed an Osaka High Court decision that ordered the state to compensate people affected by forced sterilization operations. In its appeal to the Supreme Court, the national government is specifically contesting the Osaka High Court decision that it must award $476,000 in damages to a woman and a couple living in the Kinshiri region. In its appeal, the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare said that the High Court's ruling interpretation was significantly problematic. In response to the national government's appeal, the Osaka Bar Association lawyer said, "All I can think is that the High Court decision has not been earnestly accepted, and that there was no reflection on it. Despite the plaintiffs being of advanced age, settlement of the case is being delayed. The appeal should be withdrawn at once." The group of lawyers for the nationwide victims of the former Eugenics Protection Act released a joint statement that said the government appears to be committing further mistakes, for which we feel the utmost regret. We call on the Supreme Court to hand down a final ruling as soon as possible and cut off the exit strategies of a government that makes no attempt to provide further aid to victims. So it's just a little bit of money, $200,000, $400,000 for a national government. That's nothing. But they don't want to admit they did anything wrong. That's the issue. They want to come forward and say, well, the law was there, we followed the law, so you can't blame us for enforcing the law. And the victims and their advocates are saying, not so fast. That's not how it works. If you do the wrong thing, in a free world, you have to pay for what you've done wrong, even if it happened 50 years ago. And now we're taking one more break. We'll be back. And we are back from break. I'm David Boles on Boles.tv, BOLES.tv, live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. It's wonderful to have you here. Well, we've had a heavy day of NFT consultations and Disney joining the fray, and we talked about Japan and medieval literature. We talked about rape and abuse of Marlee Matlin at the evil hands of William Hurt. And so now we're going to do something a little bit different, but not new. Oh yes, it's that time of day again to play a bit of you asked for it, nobody asked for it, but you're getting it. Bobby Fischer, not Bobby Fischer chess. And it's called not Bobby Fischer chess because I'm terrible and I need to fix myself. And so I will, starting today, with my chessable lesson. We're still working on back rank checkmates. And this is my chessable setup. I have to solve this in 3 moves, and I am playing white. What does it mean? Let's find out. And these are timed, so I have to think very quickly. Cheering does help. Thank you very much. It's been a long, hard road. So I would say I go here to here. That was the right answer. Very interesting. Now, the question is it better for me to take my queen and take that rook, or is it better for the rook to take the rook? I'm not entirely sure it matters. Oh, wait a minute. I'm drawing this line wrong. This line goes here. Oh, okay. There. Well, I think I have to go here first. Yes. Okay, that's good. And then, oh, I'm so awful in my drawing. I go here. Now, I don't think the arrow should let me make an illegal move. If I'm not on that line, it shouldn't do that. So I can go here with my queen, and my queen is protected by this knight, and the king cannot take. The king cannot move here. The king cannot move there. The king cannot move here because my queen is there, and it's going to be, as they say, the checkmate. Woo! 100%. That's very good. I accept that. Thank you very much. And it only took me 2 minutes to figure out. So we'll do another one. White to play. Solve it in 3. 3 moves. So we know this is a back rank check, which usually means a rook. The back rank is this area here. This is not back ranking. So we know it likely has something to do with a rook going down there. This rook goes here. King's in check. Takes. No, can't. Yeah, takes. Queen takes. Okay, I like it. We'll go all the way down. Check. Good. And then the queen, right here, right? Goes down and takes. And the king cannot take. Because the rook protects. But the next is going to be, then the king's going to move here. And then what do I do? I would say, well, we aren't there yet. So let's make the move because we're running out of time. Okay, right. So here we go. So now This rook wants to go here and put the king in check. However, this knight can take. And then I guess we would take. But then the king can escape there. So this is not going to end in 3, which is slightly problematic. What I sort of like is this move. Ooh. I got it right. Better than I thought. Not what I was planning to do. All right, one more. White to play. Back rank check. Very similar to the first puzzle we had today. So I think this has to be, they like putting the king in check. I would rather do this with my rook, but they like the king being in check. And then the king's going to move that way. And then we're going to have to start moving things. I think that has to be the move. Queen first. Nope. First one wrong of the day. Okay, I don't really understand that, but we'll keep going. So, they forced me to make the right move. Okay, so that's the move. And then I guess the queen would move here. And then the king moves, and then what? We can take. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah. Because the king can't go there. Check, check, check. Okay, so that's the move. All right. I missed one. But I did better. Yes! Thank you. And now we play the puzzle of the day. We're March the 14th. Is that today or was that yesterday? That was yesterday. This used to be automatically updated for me. I don't know why it's not updated anymore. Now we're March 15, cherry on top. Excuse me, I don't know what that means exactly. Cherry on top, I don't know if that's a chess term. I don't think it is. White to play. Now this is a little bit better because I don't have to rush. I can think about it, but that doesn't always mean anything. This is very congested. I sort of like the idea of going here and here. No, that's bad because that would take. I want to threaten the queen, but that's not going to work. That's a terrible idea. I do sort of like this move, though. I will try. Aha! Yaha! Yo! Very, very good. Very, very, very interesting. Now what? Hmm. Yes, now that the queen has moved over here, I can go this and go here. And the queen can't take me because she moved. And this pawn can't take me because then it's exposed the king. So the pawn is pinned. And, oh, here's sweet. Okay, this is what we call a double fork. So I land here with my knight. The king is in check. And when the king moves, I take the queen. Ho-ho! Now, if I could only get these positions on my own and not have them pre-programmed for me in a puzzle, I would be doing very much better than I deserve. I'm moving it. Fabulous. And now I'm going to take the queen because I have to. And that's the end of the puzzle! Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. It was a hard win, but I tried. Well, we've had a wonderful show today. We've talked about many different things. We did well in chess, which was very surprising, because usually we get a little nervous, but we didn't, and we persevered. If you'd like to get in touch with me via email, you can find me, David, at Boles.tv. Jana Marie is available for you in email as well, Jana at Boles.tv. On Twitter, you can super follow us now at David Boles and get some interesting benefits. A free critique a month for something aesthetic and artistic you're working on. On Facebook, we're Boles. Instagram, Boles Books. TikTok, Boles TV. Here's our Discord server if you'd like to join us there and have some fun. We had a great show today. I wish you a lovely morning, a good evening, and a wonderful nap. When you next awaken, my wish for you is you are filled with joy and passion in the totality of your soul. I will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Take care.